Kel-Tec PF-9, 7 yards away, basically 21 feet. Should be 15 shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All 15 are on target. Definitely in center mass. Personal defense weapon, concealed carry option. Looks like it'll do the trick. Welcome to Abo Caveman, everyone. Here we have the Kel-Tec PF-9. Took this out to the range today. Actually took all 3 of these out today and got to do some shooting, so that's always good when you get to go out to the range and shoot. I bought this gun for $175, and that is just a deal that I could not pass up. I bought it on Arms List, saw it on there for $175, and I happened to have the money in my pocket, so I jumped on it. I bought it because I had been using this Ruger LCP for my concealed carry, and I wanted something close to the same size and weight, but more firepower. So the Kel-Tec PF-9 was the way to go. I watched a lot of reviews on it and really couldn't find anything negative out there about it. It seems to be a really reliable handgun, and I have shot probably 200 rounds through it so far. I know that's not enough to determine whether or not it's a reliable firearm, but I haven't had one malfunction in about 200 rounds so far. So yeah, Kel-Tec PF-9, I like it. The Kel-Tec came to market in 2006, and the Kel-Tec PF-9 came to market in 2006, and at the time it was the smallest 9mm made, and smallest and lightest. Now I believe there is the Car PM9. I don't know the technical data on that, the size and weight of it, but the Car PM9 is way more expensive than this little gun here. So that's advantage Kel-Tec. Kel-Tec was started in 1995 by a man named George Kellgren. He was a Swedish man, and Kel-Tec, I believe, is the 3rd largest gun manufacturer in the United States now. But something else I didn't know about old Mr. Kellgren is he made the Intratec. So that's a pretty interesting little point. But mine's the blued version. They have a parkerized and I believe a stainless steel version. So I don't know if that affected the price or anything. Probably did. The blued version is probably the cheapest. But yeah, the polymer, it seems, it's cheap. It's not as cheap as the polymer on the high point, and that's, you pick this Kel-Tec up, and when you've shot a Glock or even this Ruger, for example, it feels cheap and it looks cheap, the polymer, and you can see just this Ruger, and it's not an expensive gun by any means, but just better looking. It looks higher quality than this polymer on this Kel-Tec, and that's a complaint that a lot of the gun snobs have. They wouldn't even own this gun. This gun would be an embarrassment for them to have. They say, oh, it's garbage, it's cheap, it's gonna fail on you or whatever, blah blah blah. And it's more like, oh, I don't want my friends to see me with this because they might laugh. And sorry guys, I'm more grown up than that. When I go and spend $175 on a firearm, I don't believe that this is the world's most elite firearm made. I've got expensive firearms too. I've shot Smith & Wessons. I own a Glock. This has a purpose, and I understand that purpose. And when I buy it, I'm buying it for that purpose. I'm not buying it to impress my friends or look cool. This was a gun that I wanted to buy that seems pretty reliable. It's cheap, and I'm not going to worry about damaging it and beating it up, throwing it under the seat of my truck, getting rusty, whatever. So Kel-Tecs, high points, they all have their purpose in life, and if you're too childish to understand that, then sorry. For a 9mm, I mean, you can just compare it to this high point here, and I probably should have brought out the Glock and compared it with the Glock, but for the 9mm, it is very thin and very light. We'll compare it to the 380. It's fully loaded. It's around 20 to 21 ounces, and that's extremely light for a 9mm. And so you could put this thing in your pocket and carry it around with you. Not as easily as you could this. Now I will admit, I carry this in the summertime, like when I'm going to the lake, I'm wearing just a thin pair of board shorts or whatever. Definitely got to go with the Ruger LCP. I don't think I could do that with the Kel-Tec PF-9. But I can carry it inside the waist holster, and it works really, really well with my shirt pulled over the top. Whereas the LCP inside the waist, honestly, is kind of hard to grab. Like if I have to draw, I pretty much have to pinch like this. I don't like the Ruger LCP due to that, but with this one, I can really get my fingers around it and get a nice draw from inside the waist on that. But one thing about how small, being thin and lightweight like this, and 9mm, the recoil of this thing, it's painful. Honestly, this gun is not very enjoyable to shoot. It wouldn't be something that you'd want to teach your wife and introduce her to firearms with. But that's not the purpose of the gun now, is it? The purpose of the gun is to save your life. And when your life is on the line, I don't think you're going to be feeling the pain in your hand when you fire this weapon. So once again, it's the purpose in which you buy the firearm. Another complaint is how small this area is here. If you had big, like, lumberjack hands, you may not be able to get your finger in there very well, or like wearing gloves in the wintertime, your finger might not fit in there very well at all. It's got a 7-in-1 capacity. 7 rounds in the magazine plus 1 in the chamber gives you a total of 8. The magazines are very, very high quality and easy to load. You can see the magazines look really well. They got the holes with the numbers beside them, so you know how many rounds you have in there. But the magazines, they seem really, really high quality, unlike the polymer on the firearm. But, excuse me guys, I got a little cold. But, yeah, really easy to load, unlike Glock magazines. Oh my God, Glock magazines hurt my hand. But, yeah, the weight is around 12.5 ounces unloaded, and the mag is around 5.5 ounces unloaded. So loaded together, I would imagine that it's probably 20 to 21 ounces, somewhere in there. The trigger's got a very long, it's smooth, but it's heavy. Very long trigger pull. So I actually, when I first started firing it, noticed that I was shooting really low. I had to aim high. I was shooting like probably 6 to 8 inches low. And what it is I actually learned to pull the trigger halfway and then fire it, and it improved my accuracy much, much better. So the trigger pull's very long, and like the reset, watch this. The reset actually has 2 stages. There's 1 click, and if you were to pull right there, it won't do anything, and then you go out again almost to the end, and there's another click. So the reset's not going to really give you any advantages in using the firearm. Alright, sorry about that, I'm back. My 6-year-old just got home from school. So yes, the trigger reset is very long. It's not going to give you much of an advantage using it. Double action, very hard to pull, and that's for your safety. You know, there's no safety mechanisms on this gun. So they do this to keep you safe, to keep things from accidentally actuating the trigger and shooting yourself in the leg. So anything that was to hook onto there would have to pull at it really, really hard, and that's probably not going to happen. Got a concealed hammer. That's also for your safety. You can see it right there. It's not striker fired like the high quality high point. And it's a concealed hammer, a lot like the Ruger LCP. So the sights, they're really, really good. The sights are adjustable for windage and elevation. So you can see they got a little Allen wrench right here. They can move up and down and left or right for windage and elevation. So the magazine release is got a nice positive release. I mean, facing down, I mean, it just spits it right out. But facing sideways, even, you know, when you don't have gravity working for you, it spits it out really nice and well too. So the magazine release works really, really good. And I like how when you put it in, it's got a nice click signifying that it's in there and it's locked, whereas a lot of firearms, they don't do that. So nice one, Kel-Tec. The field stripping the weapon, you got the slide lock right there. So you can see that it's got a groove to accept the slide lock. Push it back, push the slide lock up. This takedown pin right here, this is really cool, and I don't know this for sure, but it's gotta be, I'm 99% sure that they did this by design. It's got a little groove in it that accepts the rim of a bullet. Perfect. And real easy just to pull out like that. Pull the pin out. Take the slide lock down, and everything just slides forward. Guide rod, barrel, that's all there is to it. Nothing out of the ordinary there, much like any other firearm. Put the guide rod back in. Put the guide rod back in. Push the slide lock back on. Now I can get my pin back in the hole where it belongs. When I say that, oh, there we go. Well, hold on. There. So that's all there is to field stripping it. Nothing out of the ordinary there. And price, man. Price is amazing. Once again, you know, let's not fool ourselves that you're buying an elite firearm, but let's also be grown up enough to know what you're buying the firearm for, and not to be embarrassed whenever people see you shooting it at the range. So that's it. Kel-Tec PF-9, nice little concealed 9mm. If you like what you saw today, please remember to like and subscribe, and have a nice day.